Hello and welcome to Retro Reviews, my channel where I review my favorite retro video games of all time as well as some modern releases I have recently finished. The modern release I want to look at today is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for the PlayStation 5. This is one of the few exclusives on the PlayStation 5 that really make it worth owning the console in my opinion. This takes full advantage of everything that the PlayStation 5 has to offer in terms of its tech and delivers a really fun game overall. Now I really like the Ratchet and Clank series. I remember my very first time seeing it in person was at like a GameStop. I didn't have a PlayStation at the time, but they were showcasing the PlayStation 3 Ratchet and Clank game. I can't remember exactly which one it was that they were demoing, but I remember playing it and thinking, this is the greatest experience I've ever had. I need to play this franchise because it looks so much fun. And since then, I have played several of the games. I still haven't played all of them. I've played a lot of games in the series, and the one I had the most fun with prior to Rift Apart was the 2016 reboot of the remake of the movie, which was like a retelling of the first game, so it's kind of like a remake of the first game. I loved that game. I had a ton of fun with it. I did everything in that game. I got the platinum trophy. I think I beat it 2 times over to get that platinum. I had a really fun time with it. And Rift Apart takes everything that they did in the 2016 game and really makes it even better. So to start off, you play as Ratchet and Clank as you normally do at the very beginning of the game. You start off with them. They're doing a victory celebration. They're victorious over Dr. Nefarious yet again. Clank decides that he's going to surprise Ratchet by fixing the Dimensionator, a weapon that's going to open up the dimension so that Ratchet can find other Lombaxes and kind of find his family again. Dr. Nefarious comes in, spoils the party. Ratchet accidentally lets off the gun, opens up a bunch of different portals, and all hell breaks loose and everything goes into chaos. Then Ratchet and Clank get separated and they go their separate ways, and Ratchet's trying to figure out his way out while Clank loses an arm and runs into Rivet, a female Lombax who does not like robots. Captures Clank, goes to interrogate him to figure out what's going on, while Ratchet is all by himself. Later on, he meets Clank's counterpart in this dimension, Kit, who is a warbot, but Ratchet insists that they're going to be a great team together and that he's really excited to have her, and they finally eventually will come back together. Their paths will cross again, but for the majority of the game, you're playing as Ratchet and Clank separated, and they get to go with their counterparts, Rivet and Kit. It's a very cool premise. I think the new characters are really fun. I love the voice acting in this game especially. It is really phenomenal. They did a great job across the board. Dr. Nefarious is just as goofy as ever. His counterpart in this other dimension is Emperor Nefarious, who has never been defeated and rules the galaxy with an iron fist. That pairing is really funny as well. I just really like the dichotomy between the different versions of each person. I love how they're great in their own respect. Like Rivet and Ratchet aren't exactly the same, but they share a lot of qualities and they're really interesting. They have their own agendas, they have their own goals, and I love how they bring the story together. This is probably the best story they've ever told in a Ratchet and Clank game. I know typically the gunplay is what's on full display, but I love in this game that they have great gunplay like they always do, but also a phenomenal story that's really fun to go along with. And the stakes feel really high the entire way through as well. And at no point do you feel like you have effectively overcome the odds until you have fully finished this game. So let's talk about the gunplay. There are a ton of weapons in this game to play with, and they are a ton of fun. I remember I just barely went through a video and rewatched some of the weapons and just to refresh myself, and I forgot how fluid this game is. If you played the 2016 game, they improved on the combat in small ways, but they did improve on it. It feels even more fluid and phenomenal to play with each of these weapons, excuse me. What's really nice about Ratchet and Clank games is that you have a big variety of weapons to choose from. And as you utilize these weapons more and more, as you use them more and use them to defeat enemies, they start to unlock new things for the weapon. So the more you level up one weapon, the more powerful it becomes. So it encourages you to get all of the weapons and utilize them as much as possible. And some of the sections, some of the side quests and such, will almost necessitate you utilizing as many weapons as you possibly can. There's an arena style battle mode at one point that you get to that you're going to have to utilize as many weapons as you possibly can if you want to defeat it. It's pretty difficult, it's a lot of fun, and it plays super well. So utilizing these weapons, you'll have like a big old machine gun that's like an LMG that you hold on your side. Upgrading that to its full capacity does massive damage and has a huge magazine. It's fantastic. I love that weapon. I love the cold snap. I love the glove that you can use to shoot off bombs. Everything about this game, combat-wise, is phenomenal. It's flawless. Insomniac has always done well with gunplay in the Ratchet and Clank series, and switching between weapons is pretty darn seamless as well. Upgrading all of them feels like an absolute joy to do. I loved getting the new unlocks, getting the new weapon upgrades and everything, and popping that trophy at the end when you fully upgrade every single weapon is really fantastic. I really loved that. And visually, this game is absolutely stunning. This takes advantage of all of the PlayStation 5 specs. This was one of those games that touted like ray tracing and all of the things that the PlayStation 5 could do, all the buzzwords that you got, and it does so with a lot of success. It looks phenomenal the entire way through. I typically like to play on performance mode instead of like graphical fidelity mode, stuff like that, just so I can have a smoother experience. And honestly, both experiences are pretty darn good. I would still probably recommend the performance. I don't have like a keen eye for all of the really technical details of things, so it doesn't really bother me if everything isn't popping exactly the way it's supposed to. But even in performance mode, this game looks phenomenal. The shadows, the water effects, every one of the effects, like the movement. You have one place where Ratchet can move along and go super fast, like gliding over the surface of the planet that you're on, and it is so buttery smooth. It looks and feels so perfect from start to finish. I don't think I had a single time where the game felt like it was slowing down or compromising, and I have to credit Insomniac for making a game toward the beginning of the PlayStation 5's life cycle that looks and plays this fantastic with the technology. I think they really knocked it out of the park. This is the shining example for me for what the PlayStation 5 can do technically, and it's such a huge shame that we haven't seen really much else that's been able to take advantage of the specs as well as this game has. I love this game from start to finish. I think the storyline is phenomenal. The gunplay, of course, shines brighter than any other Ratchet and Clank game. That's quite a testament. The 2016 one had phenomenal gameplay. I think it's even better in this one. But combine that with a great story and beautiful visuals, buttery smooth gameplay, and you have the best Ratchet and Clank experience in my opinion. I do need to go play some of the other games, but I would be hard-pressed to find anything that looks or plays as good as this game. I'm going to give Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart a platinum rank and a very, very high recommendation. If you have a PlayStation 5 and you haven't played this game, you are absolutely missing out. Go check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.